Hi everyone, it is Raven 2008. I literally have been trying to do this all day. It is October 26th, 2013, and as you can see, there's been a lot of changes. Um, I have lost a total of 149 pounds on my weight loss journey. I am almost 2 years out from having the RNY. I am around 70 to 75 pounds, give or take, from my first goal weight in the one in Wonderland. Um, I have very broad shoulders, and I don't want to get down too thin and look disproportioned. So I actually set a goal for like 150, 145 first, to make sure that I looked, that I looked okay and I felt okay and that I was okay with my body. Um, as I'm continuing to lose the weight and there's loose skin and things like that. Um, I know I haven't really been keeping up on the blog, the video blogging. I have kept up with blogging at Karen.nu, Karyn.nu. Um, I went to Michigan for a little while. I was in the Detroit area, and I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. My ex led a lifestyle that I really couldn't agree with, and we ended up breaking up, and I came home. Like, I came back to Pennsylvania, and since then, I had lived with a friend of mine for a little bit. I was sleeping on her couch until I got back on my feet, and then I got um, with this guy. Like, I had a thing for him for a really long time, and we just didn't work out because we were not compatible. I'm too, like, he's very old school, and I'm just like, ooh, technology. And we mutually decided to break up, and and I was in a situation where, like, I didn't have someplace else to go, and my high school sweetheart was like, well, like, I just, this time's different. Like, I want to be your friend, and I actually want to stay your friend, because we've known each other since my freshman year of high school, and every year he, like, we talk for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, like, his now ex goes crazy psycho jealous, and all of a sudden he can't talk to any of his friends or family for like 2 years. Um, but he's like, this time is different. I want to stay friends with you. Like, I'm planning on leaving her. Um, like, I want my high school sweetheart back, but I want to be your friend first. Like, I want to prove to you that I'm your friend. And I was telling him about my concerns for not having any place to go if this guy and I broke up. And because I don't think I was going to be strong enough to stay in the house and move down to a spare room, knowing that he could bring somebody home at any time. And, because he was free to do that, and I don't think I could have sat by it and watched it. Like, I don't think I would have been strong enough. Um, so he said, well, my mom's got an extra trailer. Why don't you go up and talk to her? And I did. And we got everything all hammered out, that if anything ever happened, I could just go and stay there, and and I pay the rent, and I'd help pay the electric, but everything would stay in her name and whatever. So it was cool. Well, the guy and I did actually break up, and the trailer wasn't ready yet, because my high school sweetheart's mother is very much a hoarder, and the trailer was, like, literally chocked full with belongings that she just could not get rid of, and the cats were going in and out, like dozens and dozens of cats. So I stayed up with his sister-in-law, who's been a really good friend of mine for a really long time, and as I'm staying up there, we get to talking, and he's like, I left her. Like, I left. It had nothing to do with you. There was some issues, and we talked about it, and within a couple of days, we realized, you know, we're not just best friends. Like, we absolutely love each other. And and we've been together ever since. And he got a job with a very small company out of Houston, Texas. The guy ran him completely illegal. For those of you who are familiar with the trucking industry, you can only drive like so many hours a day. It's like 10 or 11 hours. And we made it from Laredo, Texas to Boston, Massachusetts in 2 days. Like, that's how illegal this boss was having him run. And, well, anyway, well, we were on the road, and I was really sick. I was really nauseous. And we were sitting on the border of New Mexico and Texas at this Love's truck stop. And he got paid, and I said, let's go to the Family Dollar. He goes, why? I said, I'm 4 days late for my period. I want a pregnancy test. And besides, we need to, we need to get some supplies. And he's like, oh, okay, you know, that's cool. And I got the $4 Clear Blue pregnancy test. I peed in a cup. I let it sit. You know, I dipped it so the stick, you know, the little felt tip turned pink. And I put the cap back on it. I set it down flat, just like the directions said. 10 seconds later, it was telling me that it was positive. My entire world stopped. I'm just like, what the fuck? What, seriously, this is just such terrible timing. And so I went out and I showed him, and I was just like, what the fuck? I'm like, you're calling my mother. And he did. And the next, that Friday, I had gotten paid. And I had gotten the Clear Blue EPT tests. And I tested the last day of my period, of what would have been my period. And then I took 2 tests that following week. And all 4 of them came back a very strong positive. Even the one I instead of peeing on the stick, so if the screens were up, I did it backwards because I was half asleep. I was running on like 4 hours of sleep. And even that one, positive. I'm just like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. So I went ahead and I made a doctor's appointment. I had no idea how far along I was. And I went to the doctors, and they did blood. They took a urine analysis. And ladies, if you know what I'm talking about, I got the dildo cam. Apparently it's the hospital's policy to figure out exactly how far along you are. You get the transvaginal ultrasound, and I had a baby. It wasn't a false positive. Like, it wasn't a chemical pregnancy. There is an actual baby, and I got to hear the heartbeat, and I cried. I cried like a 2-year-old. I've had 2 miscarriages. I was told because of the obesity and the PCOS and the health issues that I was never going to have kids, that my chances were actually less than 25%. And here I am, you know, and I'm pregnant with my first child, and it's very surreal, you know, like, and it's also very nerve-wracking because I didn't get down to my goal weight before this happened, and this was not planned in any way, shape, or form. And there are days that I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going to be a mom, and I cry because I'm just so excited and so happy. And then there are days where I'm just like, what am I doing? How am I not gonna mess this kid up? And so I'm very emotional. I cry at like the drop of a hat. It's absolutely terrible. And my significant other is being very, very understanding. Like, when I snap his head off and things like that. Like, he's just being an absolute gem. Like, he tells me all the time, you know, you're my family now. I fought this long to keep you in my life, and now that I've got you in the romantic sense, you're mine, and I'm never gonna let you go. And we're talking about getting married, and we've picked out names for the baby for both sexes, and one thing I didn't know though is that an OBGYN will count day 1 of your pregnancy as the last day of the last period you had. And then 2 weeks later, it's like 2 weeks later, roundabout, it's the conception time frame. And and the first week that we were together, I didn't realize it because I didn't pay attention to my phone. Because I have the period tracker app on my phone. That the first week we were together, it was the week that I was ovulating, and I was just like, oh, why did I not pay better attention? Like, what was I thinking? And so, I mean, I'm pregnant. The nausea has finally settled down. I was very nauseated. I couldn't even drink coffee for like 2 months, and I absolutely adore coffee. I had my first cup this morning, but I'm very sore, and my head is killing me, and I'm like literally on slow mode today. But inside, the little cartoon character in my head is going, woohoo, I could finally have coffee again. And so, I mean, it's definitely a moving experience being pregnant. Like, I don't see anything magical about it because I puke my guts out. The dumping syndrome has gotten worse, believe it or not, since I've had the surgery, and I'm pregnant. The first year and a half, I could eat just about anything I wanted to, and then all of a sudden, about 8 months out, carbs started to bother me. And then sugar started to bother me, like really bother me, like the horror stories that you hear for dumping syndrome. And then all of a sudden I get pregnant, and all of a sudden the dumping syndrome is amplified by like a million. I had 2 cookies and milk the other night, and I spent an hour and a half dumping. It was absolutely the most painful experience I've ever been through, and I don't want to go through it again. So I'm like very nil on sweets. But I just wanted to give you guys an update that I am doing okay. Right now I don't have internet. I have no internet. I have no phone. I'm doing a lot of reading and a lot of like stuff around the house. We're going to be calling Frontier probably this Monday to try to see what we can do to get something because we thought we had everything straightened out, and then all of a sudden it's like, crap, no we don't. And it's one thing after another, but it's a roller coaster ride I wouldn't trade for the world because I love him so much. Well, time's run out and I've got to jet, so until next time, keep reading my blog, Karyn.nu, Karyn.nu. Follow me on Twitter, Karyn.nu, literally KARYNDOTNU. Or hit me up on Facebook, look up Karyn.nu, and you'll find me. Bye.